there is product, but the mints, I don't think, have run out of metal per se. They've just been inundated with a tremendous influx of demand, and certainly we're not ready for it, because prior to this, Chris, it's been the choir that's been purchasing, not the audience. And all of a sudden, the audience is running to the choir pit and jumping in with both feet. It's too bad that it has to come under these circumstances, but yeah, it's 20 times what we normally do.
Hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics. And a quick note before we get started. Good news, the Big Silver Short, the audio version is finally ready to go. Going to be released on Friday, March 27th, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're even throwing a party on YouTube where we'll be taking questions about the book, about how what the book describes is actually playing out in the markets now, where we've seen another paper smash, and in response, seeing a surge in demand. Are we leading to the break point? What's going to happen? All of that is exactly what the book is about. It was done in interview format, 15 interviews with the world's top silver experts. Ted Butler's in there. Andrew McGuire's in there. Craig Hemke, David Morgan, Andy Schectman of Miles Franklin, all getting to the heart of this issue. Why did the price of silver get destroyed so thoroughly since 2011 when the money printing has raged on? So I think you're going to love it. Audio version finally ready to go. Print version a couple weeks behind, but Friday, March 27th, 8 p.m. Eastern, it is going to be available. So with that said, here is today's video. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics, and fortunate to have Andy Schectman of precious metals dealer Miles Franklin back on the show. Obviously has been quite a stunning week in the precious metals world. So Andy, I know you have a lot going on, and we'll get you through this one quickly, but been a long week, I hear, and how is everything going?
It's going good, Chris. Always good to be back. Unlike anything I've ever seen in 30 years of business. Days are blending into weeks. I don't even know what day it is, what time it is. It's really been everything that people are hearing about. It's been like that and more.
So has this been the most business, the busiest, the most buying that you've ever seen since you've owned the shop?
Not even close. I've never stayed at my office. Well, now I'm not at the office any longer, as everyone is working from home just about. But put it to you this way, I've never worked really past 7 or 8 o'clock at night in 30 years, other than just answering emails. Everyone is pulling 20-hour days every single day. And it's a blessing. It's a blessing that every business owner in the world would want, just not in the way we drew it up, not in this environment. But yes, it's absurd. We're getting 400, 500, 600 orders a day, several thousand emails over the last 10 days. It's really quite spectacular, Chris. Unlike anything I can even begin to try to explain. You have to almost sit here and watch. Yesterday I tried to look at my phone log to see who I spoke with in the morning, and I had so many calls that it stopped at noon. I couldn't even go back and see what I had done in the morning because there had been so many calls since noon. So yeah, it's crazy, to say the least.
Maybe we could just live stream Miles Franklin headquarters and just have a channel feed going all day so people could see. I'm sure it is quite amazing what's happening there. And actually, what you just mentioned, you've been getting a couple hundred orders per day. Just to put that in perspective, back 4 or 5 months ago when things were normal, or even a month or two ago, what was a regular day? Was it 100 orders or less than that, or just?
No, probably 30, 35 orders. And that would enable us to do north of $200 million a year in business. Now we're doing between 400 and 600 orders a day for the past 2 weeks, and unabated. It's right out of a movie. I can't even quite explain it. And it came from literally out of nowhere. It went from drinking out of a gentle water fountain to having a 5-alarm fire hose shoved halfway down your throat. And like I said, it's truly everything that any business owner would ever want. It's just not the way we drew it up. And, I'd give a whole lot of it up to sit at a bar and have a beer with you and watch the NCAA tournament, Chris. It's too bad that it has to come under these circumstances, but yeah, it's 20 times what we normally do for sure.
Yeah, well, it certainly is unfortunate that it is at these circumstances, although again, all we can do is just respond to things as best and as positive fashion as we can. And I appreciate that you're helping people get medals. As we see shortages, here, the Royal Canadian Mint is implementing a temporary suspension of product effective Friday, March 20th, which was last Friday. We've heard about the US Mint shutting down. Again, there's all sorts of different reports out there. Andy, you're obviously seeing it from the front row. What's going on with these mints here? Are they shutting down, and is there any product available?
Well, the RCM is shut down. They claimed they were doing it to protect their staff as it pertains to the coronavirus, and I'm sure they're implementing some new measures to take that into account. But the U.S. Mint, as far as I know, is still in production. But all of these shops, all of these mints are so inundated with demand, working perhaps with skeleton crews that are social distancing themselves. Everything is jammed up. And so even though there's product to be had, the infrastructure, the shipping, the packaging, everything is slowed down dramatically. And so it's there is product, but the mints, I don't think, have run out of metal per se. They've just been inundated with a tremendous influx of demand, and certainly we're not ready for it, because prior to this, Chris, as I've been saying in a lot of my podcasts, that it's been the choir that's been purchasing, not the audience. And all of a sudden, the audience is running to the choir pit and jumping in with both feet, and so that has inundated the mints, the companies like myself, the whole industry is completely inundated. And I'd like to say one other thing, and that is, as we've talked about before, in 1980 there was a 8% allocation to precious metals in the United States per portfolio. Right now it's a 0.5%. So if all we do is shift to the mean, people in the audience start to wake up and jump into the choir. If we shift to the mean of those 30 years, which is 2.5%, that's a 5-fold increase in demand. And if we see more of the mainstream jumping in and the infrastructure not improving, you'll see nothing but higher premiums, greater delivery delays, and inability to source product. That's my biggest concern right now.
Yeah, it makes sense. I remember I did an interview with Rick Rule about silver a while ago, and he mentioned of all the different factors, nothing dwarfs when you have Western retail demand kick in, which seems to be happening now. A few last quick ones before we let you run. I know the email inbox is probably already hopping. And folks, you can reach Andy at andy@milesfranklin.com. Andy, are all products still available? Are there some products you can't get? And what are the premiums like on certain products, maybe junk silver, or if you want a maple leaf or an eagle?
Yeah, so maple leafs are hard to come by right now simply because the mint is shut down, and all of the demand prior to the mint shutting down blew all that off the shelves. Eagles are slowly available. The buffaloes are slowly available. We do have some on the way to us. Should be to our warehouse within the next few days. But you're looking at premiums on gold in excess of 9 or 10%. You're looking at premiums on silver eagles in excess of $8 or $9. And I'll be the cheapest in the country on all this stuff. But huge premiums that I'd never seen before. And maybe that's just the market's way of not believing the price of gold and silver. I know in a lot of the podcasts I've done over the last year, I've talked about owning precious numismatics as far as gold, and saying what a great value they were. The premiums on those have absolutely gone parabolic. And for all of the people who bought those, they should be very happy to know that the premiums are as high as I've seen since 2008 on those. They have really, really taken off. So much so that I really won't even recommend them at this point. They're too expensive. But yeah, there is product available, Chris. Premiums are ridiculously high, but ridiculous isn't ridiculous if things don't change. Ridiculous is fair value, and I think really the dollar value at this point is less relevant than getting it in your hand if things don't change. And that's the $6 million question: are things going to change? But one last thing, and that is, for people who are purchasing precious metals, understand that the infrastructure is really, really compromised right now. The shipping, the number of orders, the packaging, and everything. So when we buy from another company, they have to package it up, or from a dealer or from a mint. They have to package it up, send it to us. We have to receive it, unpackage it, check it out, repackage it, and send it out with, skeleton crew staff, social distancing, that kind of stuff. So it's there, and when we promise people they'll get it, they will. We don't accept an order unless it's there. But things are slower than they normally are, and just want people to have a little bit of patience in these crazy times. It's hard to do, but it's called for right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm going to come back to one question about that. Although, real quick, is platinum and palladium available, or what's that like?
I am trying to get 100 ounces of platinum right now, which I think I will. Some rand, but I think they're elephant, the South African elephant platinum. We're trying to get right now 100 pieces or more. Palladium, it's rare like hen's teeth. It's really, really hard to find. Most of the dealers haven't wanted to stock it over the last year because of the volatility and how high the price was going. You have the cost of carry to worry about, meaning if you buy 100 ounces of palladium and nobody's buying it, you had a couple $100,000 sitting on your shelf that no one wanted. And so you had the cost of carry. So in general, over the last year, no one's been buying palladium, and the dealers haven't stocked it. So at this point, no, it's almost impossible to find. Platinum, tough because it's so undervalued. People jumped all over it. Here again, supply is kind of like toilet paper and bottled water at Costco. It's hit or miss, and when I get these 100 pieces, I would suspect they'd disappear pretty quickly, simply because 100 pieces for our whole company really isn't very much.
I hear you. And Andy, the last question for you today. We've heard rumors about LBMA liquidity issues, announcements from the COMEX and the CME. So I think a question a lot of people have is, we have two possible scenarios. A is that, with the disruptions in the supply chain and life, that basically the silver is out there, but there's delays in getting it from point A to point B in the form that people want to purchase it. B, what I think a lot of people are wondering is, has the surge in demand wiped out enough of the supply that it's just, we've reached a point where the metal isn't there? Do you have any thought on which of those two it's looking to you like it may be at this point?
Well, I mean, most of us would agree that the COMEX has been rehypothecated to such a degree that the metal hasn't been there really for a very long time. And if you look at what's going on right now with the Swiss refineries shut down, the price that's quoted in the United States is roughly $20 to $30 below what's being quoted for real gold in London, and it's creating a big problem. That signals trouble with the COMEX that a lot of people have been talking about for a very long time. Look, the Hunt brothers in 1980 tried to corner the silver market for this very same reason. They realized that there was far more paper contracts than there were bars of silver in the vaults. You could say that in spades about gold on the COMEX right now, and it's just a matter of time before the COMEX market is rendered neutered or obsolete, at least in terms of its archaic way of doing things. And look at the Shanghai Gold Exchange. It's delivered almost 90 times more gold to the public in the past 2 years than the COMEX has. the Shanghai Gold Exchange is probably a better way, and at some point will probably be the price setting mechanism when the COMEX blows up. I don't know if that happens anytime soon, but yeah, I think that this disconnection between real gold and new U.S. pricing on futures is the beginning of cracks in that dam for sure.
Makes sense, Andy. And again, sorry, folks, we have a little slow on the video feed of Andy today because everybody's working from home, taking up bandwidth. And Andy, I'm sure your email inbox is pumping away with new emails as we speak. Although just in wrapping up, for folks who are looking to get any particular products, whether gold and silver, just if you could let them know how to reach you.
So just send me an email at Andy@MilesFranklin. Please put Arcadia Economics in the subject line. Have a little bit of patience. I am trying my hardest, literally my hardest, to get back to everyone or pass these on to one or two of my dedicated brokers to work with your people, Chris. A portion of every single order that we do is donated to Arcadia to keep you doing what you're doing, because we need you to keep doing what you're doing. It's very important that this information get out to the public. We appreciate that very much. And we've also promised to, for every order that's over $1,000 in value, we will donate a copy, an audio copy of your fantastic new book, The Big Silver Short, which we're very excited to have tomorrow. And anything that we can do to help spread the word, help keep you going, we're excited to do. So send me an email at Andy@MilesFranklin with Arcadia Economics in the subject line. Try to be as specific as possible about what I can help you with. Yep. And I'll get back to you, or one of my brokers will in short order. We'll make sure you get the very best price. We'll make sure that Arcadia Economics gets a portion of all profits, and that your listeners get a copy of your book on the house. So we'll keep doing what we can to keep you going as well.
Well, I sure appreciate that, Andy. Appreciate all of your support. And we'll let you run because I know you got plenty to do today. Although I'll just mention we are actually doing a big Silver Short online YouTube party tomorrow night where we'll be talking about the book, the markets. Hopefully, maybe you can even pop in for a couple of minutes if you finish the orders.
I will.
Certainly a lot happening in the world. So a lot of people have been asking for you back on the show to hear what's going on. So I appreciate you making some time. And with that said, again, Andy@MilesFranklin, and we'll talk to you again next week.
I look forward to seeing you next week, Chris. I'm always ready for an impromptu if things get crazier than they already are. But I appreciate you very much, Chris. You take care of yourself, bud.